lane. You know, just a scroll through the internet. Yeah, dog. Then hear them from. Map scroll can't tell.
News within the week. I am Ofonono Joseph, coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu returns after Japan-Brazil trips. Akwa Ibom State government revokes all land allocations from May 2023. Plus, Trump withdraws Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in just a moment. Good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us on the news. We begin the news within the week from the national scene, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu returned to Abuja after concluding a 3-day visit to Brazil that yielded a draft of bilateral agreement and high-level engagement aimed at deepening Nigeria's economic and diplomatic ties with South America's largest economy. The president, who arrived aboard the presidential jet, was received at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by a high-powered delegation of political leaders and senior government officials. Among those presidents were Governors Caleb Mufwang, Plateau, Uba Sani, Kaduna, Hope Uzodinma, Imo, and Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, Kwara. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu is expected to officially launch Nigeria's revised national counter-terrorism strategy in October, following the completion of an extensive review process designed to align the nation's security framework with emerging threats. The national coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, disclosed this at the third quarter stakeholders meeting of NACTEST in Abuja, where he affirmed that has been finalized and forwarded to the national. He explained that the review initiated in February 2025 was necessitated by the evolving nature of terrorism, including shifting tactics, the use of new technologies, and the exploitation of social and economic vulnerabilities. According to him, the revised strategy was enriched through consultations, workshops, validation sessions, and technical reviews that brought together government institutions, security agencies, civil society organizations, academia, the private sector, and international partners. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday explained that every one of his international engagements was motivated by the responsibility Nigerians entrusted to him in 2023 to restore Nigeria's pride and dignity on the global stage. He added that in line with the talks, the foreign trips and his administration's reform programs were aimed at securing opportunities that would lead to growth, job creation, and prosperity for all Nigerians. The president, who stated this in a post on his verified X handle shortly after arrival from Japan and Brazil, said his engagements in the Asian and South American nations focused on unlocking critical investments. According to him, Japan offered new avenues in industry, technology, and human capital development, while Brazil opened up partnerships in trade, agriculture, aviation, and finance. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima on Thursday presided over a meeting of the National Economic Council at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The gathering had in attendance the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, as well as the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma. Also present were Governor Dawood Alawa of Zamfara, Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra, Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe, Governor Umoino of Akwa Ibom, Governor Basi Otu of Cross River, Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue, and Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa of Ondo. The Rivers State Sole Administrator, Vice Admiral Iboite Ibas retires, was also in attendance. Away from that, the federal government within the week disclosed that the full year 2024 budget performance for the first and second quarters of 2025. Going forward, quarterly publications, the federal government said, are expected to resume on schedule. The Budget Office of the Federation, BOF, in a statement issued on Friday in Abuja, explained that the delay in releasing the Budget Implementation Reports, BIRS, was linked to two key factors: verification and reconciliation processes and the transition to an extended fiscal framework. Meanwhile, as the crisis between states and electricity distribution companies continues to degenerate over who has the power to fix electricity tariffs, the federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, has summoned all the stakeholders to a meeting scheduled for next week. Energy commissioners of state governments under their umbrella body known as the Forum of Commissioners for Power and Energy in Nigeria have repeatedly insisted that the Electricity Act 2025 amended has empowered state governments to regulate their respective power markets. But power distribution companies under the aegis of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors insisted that although the act enabled the states to regulate their power markets, the state governments lack the power to put a price on cross-border electricity. As a result of this, neither the state nor the DISCOs are ready to shift ground over who has the authority to regulate electricity tariffs. As state regulators make moves to design tariffs for the electricity markets in their domains, starting with Enugu State, power distribution companies declared that this cannot work. In the meantime, the federal government within the week secured $40 million funding for Digital Innovative Hub to be established in Abuja from the Japan International Cooperation Agency, GICA. The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, Kashifu Inuwa, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the government would also support the initiative with about $20 million from the Nigeria Sovereignty Wealth Investment Fund. Inuwa further stated that Nigeria's economy around with the power of technological innovations and revolution by taking advantage of the fourth industrial revolution, which revolve around digital innovations and inventions. He praised President Bola Tinubu for anchoring its renewed hope agenda on digital innovations and technology to promote financial inclusion, agriculture, education, social investment, health security, and improved infrastructures, amongst others. Meanwhile, the federal government on Wednesday inaugurated a 21-member National Building Code Advisory Committee to strengthen regulation in the construction sector and ensure safety standards across the country. The Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, Yusuf Attah, who performed the inauguration in Abuja, said it signified a collective resolve to reposition Nigeria's building and construction industry on the foundation of standards, regulations, and professionalism. Tracing the history of the code, the minister recalled its early drafts in 1987, 1989, and 1990 before it was formally signed into law in 2006 by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. However, he noted that progress since then had been slow due to challenges of ratification and enforcement. Attah emphasized that the code was designed to address critical issues such as unplanned urban development, incessant building collapses, the use of non-professionals, and poor maintenance culture. He added that the new committee would be responsible for periodic reviews of the code, recommending technical subcommittees and guiding specialized units. Elsewhere, the federal government within the week said that through the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, NCCSAW, it has destroyed more than 13,000 illicit and obsolete firearms in the last 4 years in a sustained effort to curb the proliferation of small arms in the country. The Director General of Center, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Johnson Kukumo, who disclosed this in Abuja during the center's 5th arms destruction exercise, noted that 1,316 assaulted weapons were destroyed at the event, bringing the total number of arms eliminated since 2021 to over 13,000. According to him, the exercise was not merely about burning weapons, but a demonstration of transparency and accountability in ensuring that illegal arms never return to circulation. He further stressed that the exercise was in line with Nigeria's obligations to regional and international treaties on arms control. In another development, the Nigeria Immigration Service on Thursday announced an upward review of the cost of obtaining the Nigerian Standard Passport effective September 1, 2025. According to a statement signed by the Service Public Relations Officer, ACI A.S. Akinlabi, the new fees will apply only to applications made within Nigeria. However, the statement clarified that application fees for Nigerians in the diaspora remain unchanged at $150 for the 32-page 5-year passport and $230 for the 64-page 10-year passport. The service said the adjustment was aimed at maintaining the quality and integrity of the Nigerian passport while ensuring accessibility for citizens. This latest review comes barely a year after the federal government approved an earlier upward adjustment in August 2024, which took effect from September 1, 2024. We move over to politics, where the People's Democratic Party on Thursday announced that it will inaugurate its 2025 National Convention Organizing Committee, Main Committee on Tuesday, September 2, 2025. According to a statement today, signed by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, the announcement was made following the approval of the party's National Executive Committee. The statement said the inauguration will take place at the party's National Secretariat, Wadata Plaza in Abuja at 12 noon. It noted that the 110-member committee will be chaired by Adamawa State Governor Amadu Finitri, while Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke will serve as vice chairman. Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has been named secretary. Back here, as part of his preparations to make the upcoming Yuletide most memorable in Akwa Ibom State, the state governor, Pastor Omoeno, has given December 2025 as timeline for inauguration of the world-class Ibom Arise Resort project. Governor Eno, who disclosed this when he fielded questions from Government House correspondents, noted that the multifaceted recreational facility will be managed by a private recreation firm of international standard. Leading a team of investors on a tour of the resort, the governor said all the necessary operational mechanisms must first be put in place before the facility kickstarts its full operations in December to make a most eventful and exciting Christmas celebration for Akwa Ibomites. Registering his remarks, the Chief Executive Officer and President of Digital Learning Network of Chicago, USA, Thomas Lamina, expressed excitement over the breathtaking aerial view and standard of facilities put up at the resort. Lamina commended Governor for the impressive work done at the former 70 hectares once dreaded gully erosion site, having been transformed to a spectacular world-class tourism and recreation delight, and assured the governor of his organization's readiness to partner with the state government to promote more development strides of the administration. Meanwhile, the Akwa Ibom state government on Monday revoked all land allocations made between May 29, 2023 and August 25, 2025, including government-acquired lands. In a statement, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Okoye Udom SAN explained that the action is to enable the revalidation of all land allocations and migration to the new digital Akwa GIS platform. During the transition, all fresh allocations and land transactions are suspended for 1 month, during which period the Directorate of Land shall be shut, while the revalidation exercise will last 2 months, to be conducted by the GIS office in the Ministry of Lands and Town Planning. Meanwhile, the government has warned that any land allocation or interest not revalidated within this period will be declared invalid. In the meantime, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoeno on Monday approved a reshuffle of portfolios in the State Executive Council in line with his administration's Arise agenda. According to a statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobonwa, the reshuffle affects 2 commissioners. By the directive, Captain Inyobong Ekong, retired, who was previously the Commissioner for Lands and Town Planning, will now serve as the Commissioner for Trade and Investment. On the other hand, Dr. Ubongyang, who was in charge of the Ministry of Trade and Investment, has been redeployed to the Ministry of Lands and Town Planning. The statement further noted that the reshuffle takes immediate effect. Still in Akwa Ibom, the Akwa Ibom State Government within the week announced the disengagement of Udema Daniel Issa from his position as Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Land Matters. In a letter signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobonwa, the Governor, Pastor Omoeno, approved Issa's disengagement with immediate effect. The government, however, appreciated his contributions to the development of the state and wished him success in his future endeavors. The letter further directed him to hand over all official documents and property to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Lands before vacating office. Elsewhere, the Akwa Ibom State Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Oboyefanga, within the week, reaffirmed the Commission's readiness to ensure eligible Nigerians are fully captured in the ongoing voter registration exercise. Speaking with Spectrum Television, he explained that the exercise is available both online and physically at designated centers, stressing that citizens can begin their registration process through the INEC online portal by filling in their personal details before visiting a registration center for biometric capturing. He added that those who prefer to register directly can also do so by visiting INEC offices and approved registration centers across the state. The dual process, he said, was introduced to ease access, reduce congestion, and encourage wider participation in the electoral process.
Option of coming to us directly at the registration center and starting and completing the process, or they can start with the online pre-registration, fill in all the information, take their photographs online, and then pick a center, a time and a date to come to the center to complete the process, for us to take their fingerprints, and the process is completed. For you to register as a voter in Nigeria, first you must be a Nigerian and you must be up to 18 years of age at the time you come to register, not when the election would be held. For those people who have access to go online, apart from fresh registrants, any other thing they want to do, they can do it online. And for the fresh registrants, they can start off the process online. That's why we call it pre-registration. And they only come for us to capture their fingerprints, which makes it shorter for them. So when they come, they don't have to be on the...
Speaking on the challenges faced during the process, Efanga cited minor technology challenges which he noted will be resolved as the process progresses. He further stated that in Akwa Ibom, the response has been positive with 543 fresh applicants in the continuous voter registration.
Time and a date. We just started this yesterday, so there may be teething problems that we are trying to resolve. Maybe sometimes the technology is not working very fast, but we are working on that. I'm sure that as we progress today and in the next few days, things will go very well. So for yesterday, which was when we started the physical registration, and those who did online had to come and complete it. In Akwa Ibom State, across the state, we registered more than 500, and it shows local government by local government.
The REC urged Akwa Ibomites to register for their voters' card, warning those that are already registered to avoid registering again. He further urged those who have changed their place of residence, misplaced their permanent voter cards, or need corrections on their details to make use of the opportunity, stressing that the voter's card remains the only valid tool for exercising the right to vote in the forthcoming elections.
So we are basically looking at people who have since turned 18 after the last time we registered, and people who for some reason couldn't register all this while and they want to register, they can do that. But I know that there are some people who registered previously. They are still in a register. They may want to make changes to their information. They want to change their name, they want to change their date of birth, they want to vote in a different polling unit from where they were voting before. They can do the changes. They can do it online or come to us physically, but they will not be registered afresh. We will just change the information they have as they want. For those who haven't registered, this is an opportunity to register. If you've registered before, please don't attempt to register again, because you would just have wasted your time, our time, and the time of other legitimate persons who ought to register by you being on the queue. And then eventually we will still cancel that your attempt to register. So we are basically looking at people who...
Still to come in the news, CBN gives banks October 31 deadline for payment system upgrade. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in a jiffy. Welcome back. Many thanks for sticking with us. Now we conclude the rest of our news stories. Now to Africa, where South Africa's government has vowed it will not let the U.S. withdrawal of about $427 million in support collapse its HIV program, the largest in the world. Reports say South Africa has more people living with HIV than any other country in the world. According to the report, when U.S. President Donald Trump slashed America's foreign aid budget, the impact was immediate as free clinics closed their doors, leaving patients without medication. Still in Africa, Libyans in 7 municipalities in the country's northwestern region have finally been allowed to vote. They are Zawiya Markaz, Zawiya Wazat, Zawiya Garb, Zawiya Chamal, Sabrata, Somain, and Ber Gnam. Recall that polls there were delayed for a week due to security concerns, following an attack on an electoral commission facility in one of the areas. The first phase of voting was held for 58 municipalities last November, while the second session covered 26 municipal councils earlier this month. Although not all municipalities were able to vote, the polls are seen as a crucial step in revitalizing local governance. Meanwhile, a court in Equatorial Guinea within the week sentenced the senior government official Baltazar Ebang Egonga to 8 years in prison for embezzlement, months after he became notorious over leaked sex tapes with other officials' wives. According to the Supreme Court's press director, Hilario Mitoga, in a WhatsApp message, the Bioko Provincial Tribunal convicted Baltazar Ebang Egonga of diverting money claimed as professional travel expenses for personal use. Egonga, the married former head of the National Financial Investigation Agency, and 5 other senior officials were accused of embezzling expenses worth thousands of dollars in the oil-rich Central African state. On the foreign scene, the Trump administration on Friday has withdrawn former Vice President Kamala Harris's Secret Service security protection. The administration terminated an extension approved by then-President Joe Biden for Harris, the defeated Democratic presidential candidate whose customary 6-month period of protection as ex-VP ended July 21. A senior Harris aide told reporters that Harris was grateful to the United States Secret Service for their professionalism, dedication, and unwavering commitment to safety. While she has kept a low profile since losing the election, Harris is scheduled to go on tour this fall to promote a book she has written on her failed presidential bid. This travel will force her to appear often in public. Meanwhile, the Trump administration confirmed it had fired the head of the top U.S. public health agency after she refused to step down during a standoff with a vaccine-skeptic health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The escalating dispute over Kennedy's sweeping overhaul of U.S. vaccine policy also led to 5 other senior officials at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, announcing their resignations, according to a union representing some of the agency's workers. Suzanne Monares, a health scientist and longtime civil servant, had been the CDC's head for less than a month when Kennedy's Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, announced on Earth she is no longer director. But Monares' lawyer said she would not step down because she had neither resigned nor received notification from the White House regarding her dismissal. Still on the foreign scene, France says it will summon the U.S. ambassador to Paris, Charles Kushner, over what it says are unacceptable allegations of failing to tackle a surge in anti-Semitism. Kushner, who is Jewish and whose son is married to U.S. President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka, made the comments in an open letter to French President Emmanuel Macron. Echoing Israel's criticism of France days earlier, Kushner said there had been an explosion of hatred towards Jews in France since the war in Gaza began. In his letter, the ambassador called on Macron to tone down his criticism of Israel and outlined examples of anti-Semitism which he said had long scarred French life. Elsewhere, a Thai court on Friday reportedly removed Prime Minister Petogortan Shinawatra from office over a contentious leaked phone call. According to reports, the leaked call with former Cambodian leader Hun Sen was intended to mend relations over a worsening border dispute, revealing that Petogortan criticized the Thai army and appeared to be placating him. Meanwhile, she apologized, stating that it was a negotiating tactic. However, Thailand senators demanded her resignation and petitioned the court. On our business news, the federal government of Nigeria within the week successfully allotted a total of 136 billion naira in its recently concluded 5- and 7-year bond auctions with marginal rates of 17.9% and 18% respectively. According to the offered document on its website, the new 5-year federal government August 2030 bond and the 7-year federal government June 2032 bond were auctioned on August 25, 2025 and were set to settle on Friday. According to the Debt Management Office, the range of bids for the 5-year bond was between 12.5% and 21.5%, while bids for the 7-year bond ranged from 15% to 22%. Successful bids, were allotted at marginal rates of 17.9% and 18% respectively. Still in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Wednesday issued a fresh directive mandating all participants in the country's payment ecosystem to complete migration to the ISO 20022 messaging standard and implement mandatory geo-tagging of payment terminals by October 31, 2025. In a circular published on its website, the Apex Bank reminded deposit money banks, microfinance banks, mobile money operators, switching and processing companies, payment terminal service providers, payment solution service providers, super agents, and other licensed operators that ISO 20022 is now the global benchmark for payments messaging. The circular signed by the Director of the Payment System Supervision Department, Dr. Rakia Yusuf, stated that the move aligns with SWIFT's global migration timeline and is intended to standardize quality data across Nigeria's financial system. The CBN stressed that compliance with these requirements is not optional and warned that all in-scope institutions must complete migration activities and achieve full compliance before the October 31 deadline. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Finance Minister Wole Edun, and Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso have urged Nigerians to embrace risk management as a national culture to strengthen economic resilience amid global uncertainties. The call was made in Lagos at the 24th Annual International Conference of the Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria, CRMI, themed Global Risk Local Solutions, represented by his advisor on economic and financial inclusion, Nuruddin Zauro. Shettima said the risk facing Nigeria, climate change, cybersecurity, pandemics, and disruptive technologies are immediate and evolving. He stressed that resilience must extend beyond government policies to shape decisions at the household, business, and institutional levels. Meanwhile, CBN Governor Cardoso, represented by Blaise Ijebo, Director of Risk Management Department, and Finance Minister Edun, represented by Permanent Secretary Raymond Omachi, said that Nigeria's economy is already under pressure from supply chain disruptions, capital flow reversals, and extreme weather. They noted that reforms such as fuel subsidy removal and exchange rate unification were painful but necessary to reposition the economy for sustainable growth. Still in business, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) Bayo Ojolari within the week declared that fixing the country's refineries under NNPC's management has been difficult due to the neglect of the plants for decades. He also revealed that the NNPC is under attack from people who don't mean well for Nigeria and who are against the ongoing transformation efforts in the company. Ojolari disclosed this while playing host to a delegation from the national body of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria at the NNPC Towers in Abuja. He pointed out that Nigeria's refineries had suffered years of neglect, making them difficult to revive despite huge investment in the facilities located in Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna. He added that NNPC was leveraging its equity in the Dangote Petroleum Refinery to diversify supply while ensuring no shortage of product during the transition. Still to come in the news. Turkish club Fenerbahce sacks manager Jose Mourinho. Stay tuned for details of this in a moment. Welcome back to the concluding part of our news stories. In health, the Osun State government within the week commenced the enrollment of about 1,100 inmates at the Ilesha and Ile-Ife correctional centers into its free health insurance scheme. The Executive Secretary of the Osun State Health Insurance Agency, Dr. Razak Akindele, disclosed this in Oshobo. He explained that the initiative followed a request by the State Controller of Corrections, Rotimi Olalekon, who appealed for government support in addressing the health needs of inmates. Akindele noted that Governor Ademola Adeleke had previously directed the free enrollment of pensioners into OHIS, giving them access to comprehensive health care. He said over 26,000 pensioners are currently benefiting, while similar initiatives have been extended to people with disabilities who also received life support gadgets, as well as students in public schools. Still in health, medical expert Oluwaseyi Adebayo has urged women to take charge of their health and embrace intentional living. The medical doctor, who stated this in Lagos, noted that women's well-being should not be seen as a luxury, but as a necessity, and asked women to prioritize their health. Adebayo encouraged women to seek curative treatments, relaxation therapies, and programs for mindful living. In sports, Fenerbahce decided on Friday to sack Jose Mourinho as their manager. The Turkish club has decided to part ways with Mourinho a day after they failed to qualify for the Champions League phase as they were eliminated by Benfica. The 62-year-old has only been with Fenerbahce for 8 months and leaves after only 2 matches this season. Mourinho led the club to a second place in the Super League yesterday. During his time in Istanbul, Mourinho failed to win any silverware, having been knocked out of the Turkish Cup in the quarterfinals and fallen to Rangers in the Europa League round of 16. Still in sport, West Ham have signed midfielder Matheus Fernandes from Southampton in a deal worth more than £40 million. The 21-year-old Portuguese joins on a 5-year contract and becomes West Ham's third biggest signing behind Sebastian Haller, who was signed for £45 million, and Lucas Paqueta, £51 million. Fernandes moved to Southampton from Sporting for £15 million in 2024. He made 46 appearances for Southampton, scoring 4 goals and providing 7 assists. Meanwhile, former Nigeria international striker Anthony Ujah within the week announced his retirement from professional football, bringing an end to a career that spanned nearly 2 decades across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Ujah, 34, confirmed the decision on his Instagram page on Thursday, thanking fans, coaches, teammates, and clubs he represented for their support throughout his journey. The forward began his professional career in Nigeria before moving to Europe, where he featured for Lillestrøm SK in Norway. On our entertainment news, the All Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, within the week, unveiled its 2025 nominees, a list that features some of the continent's biggest talents. Nigeria's Burna Boy and Davido both secured 5 nominations each. Burna Boy's album, No Sign of Weakness, and Davido's 5 were both nominated for Album of the Year, while their hit singles also earned them spots in Song of the Year and Best Collaboration. Nigeria's fast-rising street pop sensation Shali Poppy also stood tall with 4 nominations, including Artist of the Year and Song of the Year for his collaboration, Laho. His compatriot Rema also emerged with 3 nominations, including Artist of the Year and Best Male in West Africa. Meanwhile, Ira Star has 2 nominations, but she is contesting for the Artist of the Year award with big stars, including Davido, Burna Boy, and El Grand Toto. A statement by the organizers said public voting will open globally on September 10, 2025 via the official AFRIMA website, www.afrima.org. Still on entertainment news, the Nigeria police force has reportedly rescued kidnapped TikToker Pele. Recall that the popular TikToker was allegedly kidnapped by unknown gunmen on Wednesday during a live stream. However, in a new update on social media today, Pele's close associate and colleague Sandra Beneda disclosed that he had been rescued by the police. Sandra, in a live video, stated that Pele has been found and is currently with the DPO. Meanwhile, Afrobeat singer Tiwa Savage on Friday denied trolling her Grammy-winning colleague Wizkid. There had been speculations that Savage trolled Wizkid after they allegedly fell out years ago. A Wizkid fan had assured Savage of the Starboy boss's fan support for her, but another fan countered, claiming that she had trolled Wizkid in the past and that they should not support her. This led to a fan to ask Zai Group if Savage had actually trolled Wizkid. And the BOT replied that there was no evidence of her trolling the Starboy. Recall that Tiwa Savage and Wizkid sparked dating speculation after their undeniable chemistry in the music video of Fever in 2018. However, the duo publicly stated that they had never been in a romantic relationship. Lastly, in the news within the week, popular Nigerian rapper and activist Folarin Falana, professionally known as Falz, has announced his engagement with his lover. The singer announced his engagement in an Instagram post on Wednesday. Sharing his pre-wedding photos, Falz reviewed his marriage plan and described the development as one of his best decisions. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News within the week. I am Ofonono Joseph. Thank you so much for watching. Good afternoon and happy weekend.